Welcome to all sins and commandments alike. This is Griever, your guys' host as always, bringing you guys, pretty sure it's not the latest episode, episode 23 of 7 Deadly Sins, Wrath of the God. Okay, so, yeah, first right off the bat, did we jump back in time? Did we jump back to late 90s, early 2000s? Because, I was in junior high when Runescape was all the rage and 3D finally showed up in Runescape. For those of you who don't know, Runescape was an MMORPG, one of the old classics of my day, being so goddamn old. The senior citizen of YouTube, if you would. And, like, what? These, like, even the helmets and everything, I swear they literally picked them from RuneScape, from like 2002 update, and just that's what they did. The moment I saw it, I burst out laughing. That was absolutely hilarious. But yeah, the rest of the episode, there is some things I do like, but once again, if you look at the context of where we go from here into the manga, anime might fix it, but the anime has done nothing but butcher the good part of Taizai as far as I'm concerned in this particular season, so I'm not really putting all my eggs in that basket. I'm not holding a torch for it or anything like that. Fact of the matter is that we get a great scene with Dreyfus and Griever. There's some type of demon there. I believe this demon was at the beginning of this season, but that was kind of sort of filler. I'm not sure if that thing actually showed up in the manga. I believe it showed up in the manga this time, and this was the one and only time. I could be mistaken about that, but this humanoid-looking, very dangerous-looking demon with like 6 dots for eyes, like, you know, he took Krillin's look quite seriously and did the incense burns or whatever they are for the Buddhists, for the monks. All of a sudden, this thing has thorns and is powerful and is kicking ass and taking out a squadron, and Dreyfus runs forward. He needs to get to his son, and all of a sudden, full size. And I'm like, okay, in the manga this happened and it was really cool. And here, it was really cool, especially when it's a nice callback to Fraudrin, because remember, Fraudrin acted like Griever's father for so long, pretending to be Dreyfus, that Griever actually had a profound effect on him. He couldn't bring himself to harm his for all intents and purposes, Fraudrin's foster son that he had been taking care of for over a decade. Like, he just couldn't do it, right? So, given all that, right, it seemed to me that I'm not really sure how this came about, and Nakaba doesn't know either. Because it's a nice sentimental moment to see that Dreyfus actually has the ability full size. So now he's got 2 magical abilities, I guess. He's got, you know, my will is as strong as my blade and it pierces all. And he's also got full size, which he uses to just smash this demon into the ground. And I'm like, that's cool. Dreyfus, one of my favorite of all the human characters, really like him. Wish he was more prevalent after the first season, that is. And seeing him do this was pretty cool. As far as I know, that's the last we ever see of him. So, don't shoot the messenger, ladies and gentlemen, but we're not going to see how he actually got full size, you know, in this way. Fraudrin, I guess, kind of, he lent me the power. It's a nice sentimental thing, but it doesn't make a whole lot of logical sense, you know. By that logic, Zaratros's magic should have passed on to Henriksen and Dreyfus or Gilthunder himself in some form when he came back. Like, there's a lot to unpack. There really is with that. We'll move on from that, but simply put, I like that this happened, but we never get a real explanation as to how Fraudrin managed to give him his magical ability, when this occurred, and if it was post-mortem, which it appears to be. I mean, it's not something that's impossible to explain, but it's never really delved into more, and this is really the last time we fully see Dreyfus in a fight. So, I hope you guys enjoyed. But The rest of the episode goes on. Didier shows up at, of course, the battlefield after the death of Mon Speet at the hands of Esterosa. Shows up, asks Elizabeth basically what to do. Death Pierce, poor old Death Pierce. Death Pierce tries his best to take revenge for Lord Denzel. And he slashes his sword against Didier's neck. Didier doesn't even notice, breaks his sword, and Death Pierce just is like in shock. This is where Esterosa actually shows up. Sariel and Tarmiel take over the fight. This is not terribly animated. There was some good shots, but for the most part, once again, a little disappointment in what was a pretty epic fight in the manga. One of the bigger scale fights in the manga for sure. And it seems like we got a lukewarm addition to this, right? Sariel and Tarmiel use their graces, Ocean and Tornado, to go against Esterosa. And they trap him in God's Realm, an ability where they combine their two magical graces, and they manage to basically create a realm of God, a celestial realm, which is just literally an endless ocean filled with a hurricane-like storm. Hence, the tornado creating the hurricane, and the ocean just being the ocean itself, dangerous and unforgiving. So they trap Esterosa in this place after a little bit of back and forth with their fighting. And he eventually breaks out. He absorbs Galen's commandment of truth, which we already saw him take, and then he goes a little nutsy, a little nutso. Esterosa just going a little like, it's playtime. His mental, I believe it's Gother who mentions that his mental stability is, deteriorating even further. We'll find out a little bit about that why later, but he's gone a little more nutso, a little more crazy, and now he seems to be on par. 2 commandments, being able to take on an archangel with a grace. They still manage to beat him down and break him. Of course, darkness constantly healing him. But he is, even though he is giving Sariel and Tarmiel a run for their money, they actually have to fight seriously 100%, and they are themselves taking damage. It's still 2 against 1. And though he might be able to match 1v1 right now, he can't fight both of them. This is where, at the end of the episode, he takes out Mon Speet's commandment, which he also stole, the commandment of silence, or quiet as it's translated here, and he absorbs that one as well with the technique that Zeldris showed him. So now he's got 3 commandments in his body, and he believes himself to be Sir Meliodas. So yeah, his mental state is completely screwed. I think Gother kind of hit the nail on the head a little bit right there. The man's gone crazy. If he was not already a little bit odd, a little kind of weird, lacking a little bit of empathy there, now he's just full-blown nutso. He went to a childlike state, and then he just went to, he believes he's the brother he's looked up to this entire time. He believes himself now to be Meliodas, because that's who he always aspired to be, that's who he wants to be. So this is all to say that that's the episode. Honestly, there wasn't really a whole lot to like about the episode. Story-wise, of course, but the manga, of course, did it far better. The animation really throws you off for enjoyment of, like, good fights like this. Like, in the manga, the story was getting better and better, and we were curious about Esterosa and such. With this poor animation quality, it's difficult to really get invested when we have a fight that didn't look too bad, so I shouldn't blame it too hard or be too harsh on it. It wasn't dreadful, but it certainly wasn't great. So yeah, I guess that's kind of my spiel on this episode. Not a great episode, not a terrible episode, a couple of hits and misses, but let's just take what we can get, and we'll jump into, I believe, episode 24, if my counting abilities are still there. If I remember 3rd grade math, 23 and then 24, right? That's the order. Now we should just follow the One Punch Man logic. 23 and a half, 23.5 is the next episode. So let's get all pumped and ready for episode 23.5. I can't wait for it. Like, comment, and subscribe, ladies and gentlemen. It's always very much appreciated. And we will see you guys next time. This has been Griever. Drink responsibly as always. I actually am for a change. And we'll see you next time. Signing out.